All right, guys, we are going to review fictional elements. So, in your packets, your story is Bruno's New Home. This is a different story, and it's a short one, and it's the best that I could find for fictional elements that was going to be short. So, the first step you guys should know in close reading is to read the text first. So, I'm going to do that for you guys. Elias was assigned a big project in his social studies class. He wanted to do well on the project, but he knew it was a lot of work. He thought it would be boring too. Elias had 2 weeks until the due date. Elias could have gone home and started the project. Instead, he put it off. He went skateboarding with his friends at the park, and he played video games with his brother. When his mom suggested he clean his room, Elias happily cleaned. He chose to do anything other than the project. Elias suddenly panicked as he remembered the due date. The project was due tomorrow. He hadn't even started. He was too afraid to tell his mom. She would not be happy about this. Immediately, Elias began scrambling to figure out how he could get the project done on time. At school the next day, Elias turned in his finished project. Elias was not proud of the work he had completed. He believed it would have been much better if he spent more time on it. Elias wished he had been more responsible. So we've read the text one time. After we read the text, what do we do? If you thought read the questions, you are correct. So let's take a look at the questions. Who is the main character? What is the setting of the story? What is the problem in the story? What is the solution in the story? And what is the theme in the story? So now we have gone over the questions. Now what do we do? If you thought read it again, you are correct. Remember, the second time you read it, you should be writing down what you think the main ideas are. Remember, main ideas are going to be what that section is mostly about. So when we're looking at trying to find the main ideas, we want to make these sections into, or make these paragraphs into different sections. Again, this is short, so this first paragraph is only a couple sentences. So we can combine this first paragraph and this second paragraph into one section. And then we can make our second paragraph the second section, and this last paragraph our last section. And we would be writing on the side, what is this paragraph about? What is this paragraph about? And what is this paragraph about? I'm not going to go through and read this a second time, again, because this was a pretty short, easy text. So I just wanted to show you guys when you're reading Bruno's New Home or any other stories in your packets, that's what you should be doing. Again, make sure when you're chunking on the side, you have a good bit of text. You don't want a little bit that's not going to be enough to create a main idea, and you don't want too much where you have a couple different main ideas. So we read the text one time. We've gone back and we have looked at the questions. We should have read the text again, and we wrote down what we thought the main ideas were. And then finally, the last step is answering those questions. See that. So let's look at our questions again. Who is our main character? Main character, remember, is the main person in the story. And you can have more than one main character. But for this story, it's just Elias. Mom is talked about in the story, but she's not a main character. She doesn't have a main role in the story. What is the setting of the story? And remember, you can have more than one setting in a story. So for the most part, it takes place at Elias's house. And then at the end, he does go to the school, and he is at the school at the beginning. It does talk about him playing with a friend, but that's just a very small part. I don't think we need to include that in the setting because that could have taken place near Elias's house, and it doesn't say specifically where it is. What is the problem in the story? Elias's mom wants him to do well and asks him to do his work. Elias waited to do his project and didn't have enough time. Elias's teacher assigned him a project that was too hard. Well, the problem in the story was that he was assigned the project and he waited to do his work and he didn't have enough time. What is the solution to the story? Elias didn't do well on his project. Elias was grounded by his mom, or there was no solution to the story. If you thought he didn't do well on his project, you could say A. But does that solve the problem? Not really. So I would say it's more of C, because your solution, remember, solves your problem. And he really didn't solve his problem. He had a problem and he could have solved it by doing his work when he was supposed to, but he didn't do that. So if you first thought he didn't do well on his project, that was the outcome, that was the result, but that wasn't necessarily the solution. And then finally, what is the theme of the story? Remember, theme is what you learned, what the lesson was. And usually the theme is multiple words. It can be a sentence. Early bird gets the worm. Don't wait until the last minute. Working together is better than working apart. Or slow and steady wins the race. So I would say that it's don't wait until the last minute. That's what he learned in the story. Okay. Good. We also talked about message, moral of the story. Those are all synonyms you could use when you're talking about theme. So it was just a really quick review of fictional elements. You guys can refer back to this when you need to, when you're going over different stories in your packet, and knowing those are the fictional elements, as well as that's how we close read. So kind of looking at two different strategies and skills that we learned this year. All right, thanks.